Alrighty, so let's talk about this new starter Rush Draw banner, because honestly, this thing is pretty good value. I mean, granted, some of the characters are a little old, but if you can get some of the decent unfeatured and you pick the right characters from the mileage rewards, you can actually get a really decent amount of value from this thing. Obviously, the big kicker here is that I think it ends at around 420 mileage, if I'm not mistaken. Haha, no pun intended. But that means that you can spend just a few gems, a little over 100 gems, and you can get, or am I dumb? Is it 200 gems? It's less than 200, right? I'm not wrong, I think. Math is not my strong suit. But yeah, you can spend just like under, or a little over 100 gems, and you can get 2 festival units for free, basically. So, if you're new to the channel, and you want to stick around because I do content on the game all the time, and you want to, learn a little something from me, I guess. I'm not really that smart. Anyway, feel free to subscribe because we're almost at 15K and it'd be super cool. But either way, this banner is actually pretty decent. The unfeatured characters on here are not maybe the best you've ever seen, but there are a couple of picks that could be very beneficial if you can pull them. Brunhild is always one that new players can get a lot of value out of. She's not only like pretty good for just regular PvE content, but you can use her as a substitute for your like DPS character in Belmoth if you want. I know some people just use her regularly. There's maybe some other characters that you should maybe run instead, like Green Derriere if you have her like I think it's her Valentine's Day costume, because you can get a little bit more rewards out of it or whatever. But they also have Magelda on here, which is really nice. Halloween Matrona is actually a pretty decent pickup. I think the biggest one that is kind of nice that's on here is this Red Danafor Liz, and the reason why I say that is because she's actually really good. Like, she's like a conveniency kind of character if you're going to run time limited dungeon, which hopefully you are. It's really worth running, but it makes things a lot easier for time limited dungeon. It makes your runs a lot faster and more consistent. So if you end up getting a copy of her, that's just a huge W in my opinion. But there's basically 2 ways that you can look at this banner. You can either look at it as an older player or like a longtime player, and you can say, hey, maybe I already have some of these characters maxed out. I should maybe grab some of these characters as a coin instead, so that way I can just trade them for other characters. Because if you don't know, during the festival that's coming up, that might already be out as of the time of you watching this, depending on when you watch it, you could potentially just grab the coins out of this thing and then trade them for a character in the coin shop, while the festival is going on. Because during festivals and stuff like that, they update the coin shop to have other festival characters in there, and you can trade 3 festival coins for a copy of one that maybe you either don't have or you need dupes for. So that's definitely an option. So for me, for example, I already have a 6/6 Escanor. I already have a 6/6 Bon. I don't have either of these two 6/6, but if I wanted to go that route, I could just pick, Escanor, I could pick Bon, I could pick, one of these characters, and I could trade all 3 of those coins for, say, an Infinity Merlin dupe, or, whoever I want to get. So, personally, I'm not going to be running it that way, but I am going to end up getting 2 festival coins out of this. Actually, am I? I don't think I am, because I don't have this King 6/6 just yet. I have this King at 3/6, so I'm going to take the chance to grab a dupe of him. It might be better for my account if I were to go for the festival coin instead, but I highly recommend that you grab characters that you don't have over anything else, just so that way you have, 1, the box CC, and 2, sometimes these older characters don't necessarily show up on banners as often, so this might be just not necessarily your only chance to get them, but it could be a really good chance to grab them guaranteed while you can. So highly recommend on the first one, you go for Escanor 100%. If you already have him 6/6 like I do, and you maybe don't have your King maxed out, then you can grab the King dupe, or if you just want to grab, if you're not worried about using King at all, which I know a lot of players aren't, this is probably considered to be the worst festival character to ever come out. You could just grab the Escanor coin anyway, and then use it to trade in for a different character if you really want to go that route. I probably recommend you do that, honestly, but for some reason, I'm still holding out hope that this new Wings King becomes useful at some point in the future. Maybe he'll get an LR now that LRs are a thing, but I'm going to grab the extra copy of him. If you want to go for it, go for it. But if not, completely understandable. I probably recommend that you don't. Anyway, the second one I think is a little bit more interesting because Bon can be a really good character. There's a couple of scenarios where Bon is still pretty useful, mainly for just random PvE activities where it's like, hey, you need to do like a ton of damage in one go. If you don't know, his ultimate, whenever you have it maxed out completely at 6/6, which is absolutely annoying, it actually gains Rupture, which means that if the enemy is buffed, it does 2 times damage, which is actually really, really good. But I would say if you're a newer player and you don't have either one of them, I would highly recommend going for Halloween Gowther. He is just really, really good. He's one of the two characters in the game, which the other one is a Red Gowther, that has a just regular rank up skill, which is just very, very good. Like, it doesn't matter how old the game gets, being able to rank your skills up is just top tier, and the character, the original Red Gowther's been in the game since, like, month 2 of the game, so it's kind of crazy how valuable this character is. And if you don't know, when you run Hell difficulty of certain demons, you can only run the color that is type advantage for those demons. So if you want to run Gray Demon and have a rank up on Hell difficulty, or if you want to run Belmoth on Hell and have a rank up for that, you need to have this Green Gowther. And for Belmoth specifically, you will have to have a character that's cleanses, like Zaneri, but hopefully if you can, find a partner that maybe already has her. If you don't have her, you could potentially work around it like that. So I would say, personally, Gowther's the better option for me. I would 100% say he's better than Bon as far as usability goes. Like, if it was Bon back in his heyday, Bon would be better 100%. But overall usefulness, I think Gowther is still, pretty dang useful comparatively. Either way, the very last one is probably the one that people might end up either skipping, because, it's going to take you 30 diamonds to get to the 450 mark, which I think is going to be pretty easy for people to grab. So you might as well just do 30 gems and get either a free festival coin or a copy of Gowther. Luckily, I do have both of these characters already completely maxed out, so I'll probably grab the bond for just the coin. But the last one is Merlin, small festival Merlin, and it is Margaret, or Festival Ludociel, which is a pretty interesting choice. I actually don't have either of these characters maxed out. I want to say that my Merlin is either 4/6 or 5/6, so I could technically get her really close to maxed, but I only ever use this character specifically for Gray Demon, honestly. I don't use her for basically anything else. She does have a built-in damage cap from her passive, which is actually really good, but the only time I ever see people use her is if they're trying to, like, scumbag you in PvP, and they're trying to put, like, Tarmiel Link on with, like, recovery rate rolls or something with weird gear, and trying to make her, like, an impervious character. Like, they're trying to make it to where you can't kill this unit, so that way you'll just give up and forfeit, which is scumbag move, gotta say. I don't think it works out 100% of the time. If you can infect the character, it completely shuts it down. And there's a lot of infects in the meta right now, so I wouldn't even say that you should even go for it for that. Other than that, you can get green skinny king for free, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's in Hero's Way, if I'm not wrong about that. And he is still pretty good for Gray Demon, and Gray Demon in general is just pretty old at this point. So you could probably get away with not having Green Merlin, but she is probably, like, best in slot still, if I had to say, for just, like, trying to get through Gray Demon as fast as possible, which is kind of crazy because she's really old at this point. But the other option is Ludociel, and I have to say, this is a clear winner. Ludociel is so good. Margaret is so good. She has a cleanse on her level 1, which is a blue card that also gives you damage increase and damage reduction, which is 2 buffs that not a whole lot of characters have. So those are 2 very unique buffs that are really good, and the fact that she just cleanses off debuffs is very, very relevant. There's a lot of situations where you want to be able to cleanse stuff off. This character is, still even good in top tier content. So I'm having to use her in Nidhogg, which is the hardest boss in the game right now, and not having extra dupes for her is really annoying because I want her ultimate to do more damage. I currently have her at 2/6, which is just incredibly annoying considering how old she is. I've just not been able to pull extra copies of her, but I highly recommend you grab a copy if you don't have her, and then if you want to max her out or you don't have her maxed out, go ahead and try to grab maybe more copies. Or if you don't have Merlin, like I said, grab a character you don't have over anything else, just because it's nice to have characters. But for me, having a 2/6 Margaret is absolutely unacceptable, so I will be grabbing the extra copy there and feeding her the dupe, so that way, hopefully, eventually, in year 7, whenever they give out enough copies of her, I'll have her maxed out finally. So that's my personal opinion on all of these characters. God, I'm all over the place. Let me know what your thoughts and opinions are on these characters down below. Like I said, there are a couple of decent unfeatured characters. Not a whole lot of them are very good, but you do get all of these characters at level 90 fully awakened, so it'll just give you a little bit of box CC and GP and stuff like that anyway. So that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully this helped. If you're new to the channel, like I said, feel free to subscribe. That'd be awesome, and I will see you guys later.